everybody. Welcome back from the long weekend. And maybe some of you took some time to think about Martin Luther King over the weekend. Somebody that was really so inspiring to so many people, not just in our country, but around the world, who really look forward to the day that we judge a person by the content of their character, not the color of their skin. When I was listening to one of his talks, he told us that he had actually been stabbed. I think it was during a book signing or some talk or something, that a woman came up to him afterwards and said, "Are you Martin Luther King?" And then when he said yes, she stabbed him. And that knife went into his chest and was teetering right on the edge of his aorta, so that if he sneezed, he could have killed himself. He could have died, and until he was able to be rushed to surgery. But what an incredible display of courage and strength and fortitude we saw in Martin Luther King, that he continued to preach, to spread awareness, to raise support, and just to bring his message of love and peaceful resistance to the people. And I draw a lot of inspiration from Martin Luther King, and especially when he talks about patience, because I think for our survivors, patience is going to be a key word in every aspect of your journey. And for the ladies that we work with, you all are such get-her-doners. Is that a word? It is now. Get-her-doners. Let's get her done. Give me the info. That's what I need. Okay, let's launch this. Let's start this. Let's wrap it up and move on to the next project. And if you have that attitude going into court, you are going to spend a lot of time being frustrated and feeling overwhelmed, and like you can't make things happen. And if you are a make things happen kind of person, it's going to be a totally different world that you're entering. So maybe something to think about going forward is adjusting your way of approaching life to a new mindset. And the key word here will be patience. And if you live in Silicon Valley, I think that's a 4-letter word. Have you ever spent more than a second getting off the mark when the light changes and not have somebody shaking their fist at you or honking at you from behind? We are not known for our patience in Silicon Valley. So this may be a new way of looking at things for you, but I really encourage you to think about this word, this attitude, this mindset. Patience with your friends, for example, as you're moving forward, and maybe it's been a while, maybe even a few years that you've been out of this relationship, and yet it's still haunting you, still troubling you, and he's still doing kind of underhanded, behind the scenes kind of things to disturb your peace. Are your friends kind of trying to let you know that maybe it's time for you to move on? Like they don't want to keep hearing the same story over and over again, like everybody else seems to have gotten, when they went through the divorce process, they've moved on. What's wrong with you? And I hope that you can have patience with friends who don't really understand the type of person that you've been involved with and that you've escaped from. If you have escaped, it's like they're from a different planet. You know what we say? Women are from Venus, men are from Mars. These guys are from Pluto, which is not even a real planet. So these guys have a totally different set of rules when it comes to interactions, intimate interactions and family interactions. And they're very good at presenting this face in the public to the world about what a great guy they are. Often they are able to pull the wool over their eyes, and you're the ones that get to see that other face. How do you explain that when you don't have bruises or broken bones to show for it? So how frustrating it must be for you to be trying to share some of this information and some of these stresses and the turmoils that you're having with your ex, and for them to be kind of pulling back and not having that patience that you wish you would have with you. So if you could maybe have a little bit with them, knowing that they just don't understand. If you've not been in this type of a relationship, it's very hard to understand. Maybe also thinking about having patience with the system. This is a system that is designed to move slowly. They don't want they're not like the In-N-Out burger of relationships, like come in, put your order in, pay for it and move on. They want to, if anything, discourage you from entering that system. They want to encourage you to work out your differences between yourselves or amongst yourselves. And if you don't, you are at risk of getting labeled the high conflict couple. Sarah and Georgie and I were just talking about that this morning as we're developing our curriculum for the support groups. That believe me, if you're in a covert abusive relationship with a coercive controller, it's not a high conflict relationship. It's not a communication issue. It's a crime. And it hasn't fully been realized as such in California. Yes, we have it on the books now under Family Code 6320 in family court, and it can be grounds for a restraining order in family court, which if violated can then go on to become a criminal case. I have yet to see that happen. So we still have this ancient mindset that, oh, it's a family matter. Let's draw the curtains. Please work it out on your own, or the judge will have to intervene. And if you're preventing your children from seeing their father, regardless of what he's done in the past, there's something about you that gets labeled. You're the gatekeeper. You're the restrictive parent. So if you can learn what the mindset of the court is, what this new world is all about that you stumbled into, it can help you have patience with a system that doesn't know what you know about coercive control and covert abuse. They are still of the mindset that we want everybody to get along. Let bygones be bygones, and for the sake of the children, let's all get together now. And we know here that that's often not the safest thing to do for you or for your children. When you have somebody that is impervious to change, that's all about power and control. Think about patience when it comes to family court. Think about patience when it comes to the judge, with him trying to make these decisions without having read all the documents that you've submitted, or him having 30 cases in the course of a morning, and you're just one of so many where he's got to make these decisions. Have patience with judges that don't have the training that you do on covert abuse and coercive control. Judges are very worried about appearing biased, and that means it makes it hard for them to get educated without looking like they're just getting information from the domestic violence advocates or from survivors. And then the opposing counsel comes in and says, Judge, we want a new judge because you're just listening to women who've been coached by domestic violence advocates, and you're just going to seminars learning about coercive control without really considering the other side, that my partner, my client has been terribly abused and had coercive control used on him. So watch out for judges that are trying to look fair, trying to look neutral in a situation where, as Sarah has so wisely said, that neutrality isn't possible with covert abuse and coercive control. Neutrality will be weaponized and turned into support of the other side. It's impossible to be neutral in war. You can't be Switzerland anymore. You know, in a divorce situation with a covert abuser, you take sides. And if you're not for them, you're against them. They will declare war on you. So you understand so much more about this process that often than the court does, and that anybody involved with it does, and that's including the judge. And then maybe you also have patience with your children. Your children have been through a lot. Your children have been terrorized, tortured perhaps by the man that was supposed to love and protect them and teach them what a father is, what a husband is, what a man is in the world. So maybe have patience with children that whose world is so small, has been so, the horizons have been so restricted, so that you and dad are the first important role models in their life. And what happens when one has betrayed them on such a fundamental level? Can they trust anybody anymore? If dad has betrayed them, if dad has done these horrible things, and if mom, how hard was it for you to protect them from these things? And how long did it take for you, or is it taking for you to get the kind of protection you need for yourself and your children? You understand, we understand, but do children understand? And it's easy for them to end up blaming you. It's easy for them to start acting out against you, to learn some of dad's bad behaviors and use them against you. They know so little about the world and about human nature. So please have some patience for them, that even if you have escaped from your relationship, that doesn't mean that the healing has already happened because you left the source of the pain behind. Now the healing can begin, but it's another whole new journey to be on, is getting help and support and safety and protection and healing for your children, so that they can learn to trust you and the world and people when they deserve it again. And then finally, please have patience with yourself, because if you're in our little sisterhood here, you're a woman of great achievement. You're a woman that's used to being successful. You're a get her done kind of woman. And with this kind of process, you can't get her done overnight. It's escaping from an abuser is not an event. It's a process. Divorce with an abuser is not an event. It's a process. Healing from abuse like this is not an event. It's a process. It's all a process. It all takes time. And if you can just give yourself the grace to understand that you may have days when you raise your voice with your kids, when you snap at your good friend, when your work product isn't what it could be, can you be patient with yourself and recognize that you've emerged from the battlefield, from somebody that was supposed to love and protect you and ended up betraying you? Your closest partner in life became your enemy. And now you had to, or are having to, escape from that and create a new life for yourself and your children. That's going to take time. It's going to take healing, and it's going to take patience.